What if I told you there was a way to make your heart 20 years younger? I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but believe it or not, a landmark study has shown that a very specific kind of exercise can do exactly that. So, let's dive into the science behind this incredible claim. This quote really nails it. The effects we're talking about are so powerful that if you could bottle them up in a pill, it would be the biggest anti-aging drug in history, hands down. But here's the thing, you can't. Because it's not a drug, it's a process, it's exercise, and it kicks off this whole cascade of benefits that no single pill could ever replicate. So that leads to the big questions, right? How in the world does this actually work? And maybe more importantly, how can you do it yourself? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. We're going to start with the single most important metric for your longevity, then we'll look at why being unfit is so dangerous, and finally, I'll give you the exact prescription to turn back the clock on your own heart. All right, to really understand how this all works, we have to start with this key idea of cardiorespiratory fitness. It's kind of the foundation for everything, especially for how we age. And the gold standard for measuring that fitness is something called VO2 max. Honestly, you can just think of it as the horsepower of your body's engine. I mean, every single thing we do requires oxygen getting to our organs, right? VO2 max is simply the best measure of how efficiently your body can pull that off when you're really pushing it. So this chart helps explain a concept I call the aging cliff. Look, just sitting there, you're using about 3 mils per kilogram per minute of oxygen. Just talking, like I am now, takes about 11. Now, as we get older, our peak capacity, or VO2 max, it naturally starts to drop. So if your peak is really high, you have this huge buffer, this massive safety net before simple daily tasks like carrying in the groceries start to feel like a maximum effort. The whole game is to build that peak as high as you possibly can right now, so you stay far away from that cliff for as long as possible. This isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. And the payoff is it's incredible. It's so direct. The research shows that even tiny improvements have a massive impact. Just getting out of that poor fitness category can add 2 years to your life. Getting up to a high level adds 5. And get this, it's so precise that for every single point you increase your VO2 max, you add an estimated 45 days to your life. It's wild. So all of this leads us to a pretty startling conclusion. The danger of poor fitness is way more serious than most of us think. In fact, it might just be a bigger threat than some of the things we've been taught to fear the most. Okay, check this out. A huge study in the Journal of the American Medical Association looked at the top predictors of death from all causes. And the results were, well, they were a total shock. The number one predictor of dying wasn't smoking, it wasn't type 2 diabetes, it wasn't even having cardiovascular disease. The number one predictor was low cardiorespiratory fitness. So the main takeaway here is, we have to completely reframe how we think about this. Being inactive isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's not something you'll get around to later. Given how strongly it predicts mortality, it needs to be treated with the seriousness of a medical condition. It's a disease. Okay, so we know we need to improve our cardiorespiratory fitness. That part's clear. But what's the best, most effective way to actually do it? Well, it turns out when it comes to boosting that VO2 max, not all exercise is created equal. You might think going for a brisk walk for 2.5 hours a week is enough, but the research is actually pretty shocking. For about 40% of people, that moderate effort does absolutely nothing to improve their VO2 max. It's basically a coin toss. Vigorous exercise, on the other hand, that's a reliable, surefire way for pretty much everyone to see a big improvement. So what does vigorous really mean? It's actually super simple. It's that level of effort where you're breathing too hard to hold a conversation. That's it. If you're into the numbers, you're looking for about 80% of your maximum heart rate, maybe even a little higher. And one of the most well-researched, most effective ways to do this is called the Norwegian 4x4 protocol. It's beautiful, really, in its simplicity. Step 1, you go for 4 minutes at the absolute highest intensity you can sustain for that time. Step 2, 3 minutes of active recovery, so think like a slow walk. And step 3, you just repeat that cycle 4 times. That's it. That's the workout. Now, this isn't just some theory that's popular with elite athletes. A really groundbreaking study out of Dallas, Texas, put this kind of training to the test with regular, sedentary, middle-aged people. They wanted to answer one simple question. Can you really, truly reverse the aging of the human heart? So, Dr. Ben Levine and his team took a group of 50-year-olds who were pretty sedentary but otherwise healthy.
Now, you can't just throw them into intense exercise, so they spent the first 6 months just slowly building up a fitness base. Then, for the next year and a half, they jumped into a pretty serious 5-hour-a-week exercise program.
And their weekly routine was a really smart mix. It included at least one of those intense Norwegian 4x4 sessions, but they also did other cardio and some strength training, which just goes to show you this high-intensity work was a crucial ingredient, but it was part of a complete, well-rounded fitness plan. Okay, so after 2 full years of this dedicated training, what were the results? Well, they were nothing short of astonishing. This protocol reversed the structural aging of their hearts by 20 years. So what does a 20-year reversal actually mean? Well, as we age, our hearts can literally get smaller and stiffer. This study showed that after 2 years of this training, the hearts of these 50-year-olds had regained the size and the youthful elasticity of a 30-year-old's heart. I mean, the takeaway is just so motivating. It is never too late to make a profound, powerful difference. So the conclusion here is crystal clear. The human body, and your heart in particular, has this absolutely remarkable ability to get younger, to regain its function, even in middle age. The science is there. The prescription is clear. The only question left is, are you ready to unlock that potential?